My disappointment is immeasurable, and my day is ruined.
Here we go, Steelers, here we go. Pittsburgh's going to the Super Bowl, here we go.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Steel Nation for the final game recap of the season. I am your host, Brian, and as the intro states, my day is officially ruined, and I didn't even get to go to work yet. So, today, we witnessed the Pittsburgh Steelers walk into Bills Stadium and proceed to get curb stomped. Now, that is kind of an overreaction. I mean, we did keep it close for a good portion of the game. After going down 14-0 in the first quarter, we were able to, put together a pair of touchdowns throughout the rest of the game and a field goal. Unfortunately, so did the Bills. And by the end of the game, it would have served us about the same if we just didn't score anything, and neither did the Bills. I will say, though, we didn't let them score more than once per quarter for the rest of the game, with a touchdown in the second and fourth quarter and a field goal in the third. But when you're already up 14 points, that's really all you need, putting them up 31 to our 17. Now, the difference between this game and the Browns-Texans game is that the Browns were actually curb stomped by the Texans, whereas we were only mildly curb stomped by the Bulls. What I mean is the Browns lost 45-14. And that was a game between the 4th and 5th seed, meaning they were very close in total wins for the season, and that game should have been close. Instead, they lost by like 31 points. The Steelers, on the other hand, were the 7th seed going up against the 2 seed, a very, very powerful matchup, and we were able to hold out until the very last drive, where Mason Rudolph decided, instead of throwing it deep down the field, that he was just going to constantly check it down to the middle of the field while the clock was still running. Now, this game, much like this season, is a tale of the Steelers these past couple of years. Inconsistencies marred by injuries and penalties that should not have been called, as well as penalties that should have been called and weren't. I want to start off with the one thing that went well and in our favor on the ref side of things, and that was that fumble that the refs said was in fact fumbled out of bounds by the and received by the Bills, but after it was out of bounds from Pat Freiermuth. That call should have been reversed, in my opinion, but it was not. Now, I am happy for the fact that that call was made in our favor, but at the same time, that call should have been reversed. It was obviously a fumble recovered by the defense that should have gone the other way, but it didn't. And then proceeded to get every other penalty possible called on us, including a substitution penalty that was honestly probably the thing that did us in. But that wasn't the only fumble that we had. George Pickens fumbled. It was the first quarter, there was just fumbles everywhere, and it just really did not help us at all. Then you look at the stats for the quarterbacks. Mason Rudolph completed 22 of 39 passes for 229 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception, which is not bad. I mean, honestly, it could have been a lot worse. Josh Allen, on the other hand, with 21 for 30 completions, had 203 yards and 3 touchdowns. So, they're a little bit more skewed. We had more yards through the air, but Allen had more touchdowns thanks to the bad fumbles we had, giving them good field position, and so he could make 1-yard plays. He also had a rushing touchdown of 52 freaking yards. 52. Now, I don't know where our defense went, because our defense in this game was just about as reliable as the offense has been all season. And I say that to say that it hasn't been reliable at all. It has been one of the most inconsistent offenses, and now one of the most inconsistent defenses in the league. And it's not even just game to game anymore. Like, earlier in the season, it was, we were bad one game, we were good the next game. Now, we are bad to good between drives. Heck, between plays. We go from holding the Bills to a 3-and-out to letting Josh Allen run for 52 yards and a touchdown, all within the same quarter, from drive to drive. And that's the issue the Steelers face these days. It's inconsistency, it's an inability to defend against the run game, and it's an inability to defend against the deep passing game. Because anytime a team passes deep, it's more than likely going to succeed for them. But at least we didn't get blown completely out. At least we weren't the Cowboys. At least we weren't the Browns. But Browns fans are going to complain. They're going to say, you lost just like we did. And I admit, we did lose. The difference is we're the 7 seed. We are the bottom of the bottom. And while we did lose by 2 possessions, we kept it close. Closer than the Browns could say. Another thing I want to talk about is the weather. And I want to say, going into this thing, that I think it was a good idea to postpone the game. Because of weather conditions, getting to and from the stadium, it's a good idea. It was a good idea to wait till Monday to play the game. What I don't think was a good idea was not the aspect of paying the fans to come and clean the stadium, but it was the allowing them to only clear the home section of stands and leaving the visitor section completely untouched. That is unsportsmanlike, in my opinion. It's a very rude thing, in my opinion, to do when you are the home team and you treat the opposing team's fans like crap. I understand wanting home field advantage, so A, your fans can be at the games and can be cheering for your team and trying to disrupt the opposing team's concentration, as well as the field, the weather, and you're able to more accurately play the ball and get the other team off their balance. I don't like, though, when stadiums go out of their way to treat opposing fans with the same disrespect. When it comes to the teams, it's normal. The visiting locker room is always bad. The visiting sideline is maybe built in the sun. But the fans don't deserve that. They are paying, in some cases, double to come see these games. They're traveling from long distances away, buying the tickets after the home team fans have gotten the chance to come to these games, and you treat them like crap. I've seen a couple of videos on YouTube, I'll post them in the comments if I can find them again, of stadiums where the visiting amenities are worse than the home amenities. The bathrooms are smaller and never cleaned. The concession stands are run poorly on purpose. Instead of team decorations everywhere, you are instead ushered through concrete boxes to get to your seats. You have worse seats. Your seats don't have cup holders. There's no awning for you when there is for the home team. And this, worst of all, you now have to clean off your own seats because the home team decided you as a fan were not worthy of your seats being cleaned off before the game, but the home fans were. I disagree with the way that was handled. 100% I disagree. If you're going to clean off the seats for the fans, I expect you to do it for all fans. And I'm not just saying this because this was an away game. If it was at home and I saw our team doing that, if I saw the Pittsburgh Steelers clean off all the seats on the home side of Acrisure Stadium, but leave all of the seats on the visiting side completely covered, I would make the exact same response. In fact, I'm going to say right now, if the Steelers do that, and if I notice the Steelers do that, I will call you out for being pieces of crap. Because you don't treat opposing fans like that. They are paying to come to these games and watch these two teams play. I don't care how you treat the teams inside of the stadium. I don't care if the visiting locker room is just a hole in the wall. I don't care if the visiting teams are treated to ridicule, are treated to hexing, hazing, whatever. But I draw the line at treating the fans like that. because the fans are already treated like that by the NFL as it is. The way the whole NFL is run is anti-fan. So do not be anti-fan at these stadiums. That's it. Literally, it's as easy as that. But some of these stadiums, especially college stadiums, they don't do that. They treat visiting fans worse than normal fans. And I think that's awful, and I think that's sad. But it's the way things work, and if I had my way, it would be different. Let's quickly go over some more stats for the game, just so we can, get these out of the way. I already touched on passing yards, but for the Pittsburgh Steelers, we had 218, and for the Buffalo Bills, they had 189. So we had a much higher through the air rating than they did, but they had a much better on the ground rating than us. We had 106 rushing yards, and they had 179. That all came out to a total of 324 yards for the Steelers and 368 for the Bills. Now, that is not the greatest stat line in the world, but in comparison to some of Josh Allen's other games, we held him to a reasonable number, and we were not very far behind that number. The score might show something different, but a big issue that we face with that score is the turnovers and the being unable to make anything happen in the end zone like we're supposed to. The constant flags were also not a help, especially on that one drive, and it got to a point where I just assumed the refs were trying to help the Bills, because seeing Josh Allen take on Patrick Mahomes again is what the NFL wants. And I've basically resigned myself to believing that the NFL rigs its games just so they can have matchups that they want to have. I mean, that's as simple as it is. They tried to rig the Lions with that one penalty. The Lions have bested them. They successfully rigged us, though. I don't know why they don't like the Steelers. I thought it would have been a really cool storyline to have a season backup, a season third string, somebody who was back up behind Ben Roethlisberger, finally get a shot and win a playoff game. But I guess they're more interested in seeing Josh Allen take on Patrick Mahomes. Why? I don't know. I don't think either of them are all that special. What is Josh Allen but another Big Ben? He's got the arm, he's got the accuracy, he's got the legs. They're the same dude, in my opinion. Patrick Mahomes, just the next Tom Brady. There's nothing interesting about them. The only thing interesting about this matchup is going to be if the Chiefs can actually put something together against the Bills, because they haven't been able to most of the season because they don't have very good receivers. But it is what it is. I'm happy that the Browns lost, and I'm going to continue to lord that over Browns fans' heads forever. And they're going to lord this over my head forever. And I'm going to be like, we lost to the 2 seed. We kept it close. You guys got blown out by the 4 seed. So, you tell me who you think is better. More stats. Rushing yards. For the Steelers, Jaylen Warren had 8 attempts for 38 yards. Najee Harris, with 12 attempts, had 37 yards. Rudolph had 2 attempts for 16, and George Pickens had 1 for 15. Pretty good. Not the greatest from our running backs, but the Bills put up a really good run defense. So that's what kept them, from not being able to put up their normal numbers. Then we move over to Buffalo, and we see how bad our run defense is. James Cook, 18 attempts for 79 yards. Josh Allen, 8 attempts for 74, with his longest being a 52-yard touchdown run. And then Johnson, 8 attempts for 26 yards. That 52-yard touchdown run, that was ridiculous. The fact that we let that happen is not great. And I think it's a testament to how good Josh Allen is with his feet and how physically demanding he can be. Receiving, Pat Freiermuth had the most yards today on 8 targets. He got 5 receptions for 76 yards. Pickens got 5 for 11 and 50 yards. Deontay Johnson, 4 for 7 for 48 yards and a touchdown. Jaylen Warren was 2 for 2 with 16 yards. Najee Harris was 3 for 2 with 15, or 2 for 3, with 15 yards. Allen Robinson was 2 for 3 with 12. Calvin Austin III was 1 for 2 with 7 yards and a touchdown. Cam Hayward was 1 for 1 for 5 yards. And Darnell Washington, unfortunately, was 0 for 1 today. Then we go over to the Bills side. Kincaid was 3 for 6 for 59. Diggs was 7 for 9 and 52. Hardy was 1 for 1 and 34. Shakir was 3 for 3 and 31. And the list just goes on and on for days. So the throwing game, as I said earlier, was both teams' strong suit. We were both getting it down the field. But it wasn't their strong suit the whole time. Because the Steelers, for most of the game, had Joey Porter Jr., who, honestly, next season, if he plays the same way he did this year, is going to be a Pro Bowler. He's going to make the All-Pro team, and it's going to be him, TJ Watt, Minkah Fitzpatrick on that defense. And that's insane to think about because Joey Porter Jr. is a rookie. But Joey Porter Jr. has been the best player on that defense for a long time, or at least a long time this season. Cam Hayward is a really good player, but Joey Porter Jr. is on another level. He's on a completely different level, and I'm super happy about that. At the end of the day, getting bounced in the wildcard round is to be expected with this team. I'm happy that we got a winning record. I'm happy that we made the playoffs, but I wasn't expecting any more than what we got. Was I hoping that we would get a little bit further? Yeah. Did I expect it? No. And that's sad to think about. The fact that I did not expect us to do anything more than what we did. But the offseason's coming. I'm going to keep you guys up to date with some of my own thoughts about what I think we should do in the offseason. And then if a big enough change happens, I'll make a video on it. But other than that, I've got some videos planned on coming out. But this channel is, after the Super Bowl, is probably going to go pretty dormant until the next season. I'll put out probably one video a month just to try and keep things going. And they might be talking head videos. I plan on making a video about the history of Three River Stadium and maybe even the history of the Steelers as an organization. But until those come out, I'm not going to make any promises. With that all being said, I want to thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys did enjoy this video and the content that I've put out, then please make sure to leave a like. I know this one's a lot more somber, a lot more monotone. I'm not as excited or energetic, but that's what happens. You know, it was a sad day. Sad day for me. But we'll bounce back. We always do. Steelers BS is real. Make sure you subscribe if you want to stay up to date with what I put out on this channel, as well as any information regarding what I'm going to be doing over the off season. Make sure you ring that bell, and in the description of this video is going to be a link to the Discord. If you guys have any interest in checking out the Discord, you can go ahead and click that link down below. We would welcome everybody. Doesn't matter what team you root for. That all being said, I will see you guys in the next video. Take care, and as always, go Steelers.
Here we go.